The dudes, and I'm joined today by the OK guy, also known as Kenny. How you
Thank
doing,
you.
man?
I'm doing well, dude. I'm really excited for this match. Just starting out here, it looks like Space Cowboy is going with the OG regular Link, and Gus is using that. Oh, looks like we're off.
Yeah,
So
it must
got
be
interrupted
waiting
there a
for
little
us.
bit. Yeah. Let's see what this first chest has to offer for us.
Ooh, that's convenient.
Yeah, very convenient find starting out, seeing as they're going to want bombs for the back of the escape. There's 3 chests back there, and farming from bombs, especially with some of the weapon loadouts that we can get starting out, it can be a real pain and just cost you a lot of time. So, very convenient Link chest.
Yeah, the only unfortunate part here is, of course, is that if Uncle decides to give them more bombs, those 3 bombs will just go a little bit to waste. But we'll see what we have here.
Oh, for sure. That's unfortunate, but that's Cane of Brian. Very cool.
It's best weapon to start with, normally, because it makes it hard to farm bombs with, but in this particular case, they don't need to, so it works out pretty well.
Yeah, we see Gus there dropping a bomb. I guess he was expecting to have that cane out and just wasted a bomb, or maybe he was trying to use it to kill both of those guards. But that is one less bomb for him.
Yeah, normally if you start off with King of Burner, killing those 2 guards is actually a pretty free idea, because you can get the magic straight back from those pots on the right anyway.
That's right. You do have to be careful with the Cane of Brian, because if you run out of magic, you can kind of get yourself stuck down here where you have to kill guards to progress, either to open doors or to get yourself a small key.
Yeah, it is worth noting that the randomizer does help you out a little bit these days with that, because if you do completely run out of resources for your one weapon Uncle gives you, you can save and quit and reload your save, and it'll give you back a little bit of the resource you need. So in this case, it'll give you back a bunch of magic. So you'll never be truly stuck as long as you're willing to save and quit.
Yep. It is kind of set for us to not get too messed up at the beginning, especially with magical items, but it's still a huge waste of time if you have to do such a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Something you definitely want to avoid, but if you're new into the randomizer, you want to mess around with this tournament mode, don't be afraid. It does sort of take care of you in that regard.
Looks like both of these guys are taking that cane and putting it to really good use, not having too much trouble with it at all.
Yeah, making pretty was some good use of from Gus there to push the guards up against the middle, because the King of Burner always pushes enemies upwards, so you want to try and make use of that to conserve your magic as much as possible.
Yeah, pinning them against the walls, definitely a good maneuver with this weapon. I'd imagine both of these guys are going to do the double pot. Ooh, full magic refill for Space Cowboy. That's very convenient.
Yeah, that is super convenient, actually. He'll be able to use the Cane of Burner a bit to speed through the sewers a bit, because those rats and snakes do get in your way pretty massively with so much more inconvenient weapons like the Cane of Burner.
Yeah, and even though they do have the backup of using bombs if they need to, they don't want to run out of magic before getting to that key rat at the end of the sewers. That's definitely a pain. There are a couple of pots right at the beginning of the sewers, right after the throne room, where you can get some small magic refills. You see a lot of people go out of the way for those. I think there's 2 of them.
Yeah, they're definitely good. They're definitely something to be aware of in standard as it is now. Well, standard as we're playing here, I should say.
I love this Zora sprite. It's really enjoyable. It's a really cute sprite for Gus.
It's really well made too. Like, it partly just makes use of the existing assets in the game, of course, because these guys do pop out at you if you're going through Zora as the main, but it's still really well made.
Yeah, once Gus heads up to, like, Zora's domain or even like Swamp Palace, it's going to be really enjoyable to watch him hang out in water areas.
Yeah, just going through his native environments.
That's right. These guys are like neck and neck so far. Really good start for the escape here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to see too, because this segment is basically purely execution based, so seeing the runners or keeping up in there is a good sign for the rest of the race.
I like the tactic that Gus used there. Just power right through the wall of snakes. Space Cowboy with all that extra magic from that full drop, he just might as well get some kills and hope for maybe bombs, maybe some rupees. Oh, speaking of rupees, it's a big 20.
Yeah, it's not about fine now. You always want that early money.
Yeah, along with having bombs for the end of the escape, they're also going to want some, at least a few bombs and 100 rupees for Kakariko Village, which is usually one of the first stops for us runners after. Ooh, Space Cowboy's having a little trouble with that rat. There we go. It's one of the first stops usually after the escape.
Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. You're basically at Sanctuary already, and then just going left over there is ooh.
Okay, so there's some worth at the end of the escape sequence. It's to be noted.
Power Glove in particular.
Yeah, that Power Glove. If they hadn't had the bombs or saved their bombs till the end here, unless the other glove is somewhere easily accessible, which I highly doubt, they would have had to go through the escape sequence again, heading through the front of Hyrule Castle. Whenever you go through Hyrule Castle's sewers, you never lose the torch, the little light that sticks out from you, so you can actually head to the back of escape the long way. Luckily, neither of them had to. Ooh, and a bottle.
Yeah, the bottle's going to be real convenient for Sick Kit in a little bit, because they do seem to be making their way over the Kakariko Village.
Yep, one less fetch quest that they have to backtrack for in Kakariko Village. It's really nice.
Yep, going to get some pre-pull checking along the way. Just small magic for the Titu is actually rather convenient if you know the spots.
Gus is heading straight into the Lost Woods here. Or no, Space Cowboy's heading straight into the Lost Woods while Gus goes and checks the lumberjack item.
If you're okay with not having that knowledge, then of what's in the lumberjack cave, this is a slightly quicker play. That doesn't mean you're sacrificing that little bit of knowledge, and that can make a difference sometimes. So I don't think there was anything important there from what I saw on Gus's screen. It looked like the bottom of a red rupee to me.
I think it was a big 20, for sure. A lot of racers will hold off on even checking the lumberjack until they have boots or something, maybe even Aghanim access.
Yeah, it's actually it is something routing into the boots is actually fairly understandable, because it's relatively simple to route it in with checking the bonk rocks or a similar location anyway, because it sends you sort of in the right direction anyway.
Space Cowboy, first of these runners into Thieves' Basement, or the Thief Basement here. Five items. Really good congestion. I'm hoping for something good in Kakariko Village, but at the same time, it's really nice to see just empty Kakariko villages that leave these guys wandering around the rest of Hyrule looking for progression items.
Let's see which of the two it is this time. It's also interesting that because of the bomb Gus placed by accident earlier in the escape, if there are no bombs to be found here, he's actually in a slightly inconvenient position that he can only check one of these two upper locations that need a bomb, and has to skip out on the other one for a little bit. Unless he just goes down to buy bombs after this.
Oh, for sure. Worst case scenario, he could buy some more. It looks like they're getting a decent amount of money so far. Ooh, Ice Rod. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
The cape, the magical cape. If these guys can find a sword, that is Aghanim's tower full clear. They do have to have a sword first, though, to cut the curtains at the top of the tower. Ooh, there's some lucky bombs.
Imagine they'll be waiting to find the lamb first, too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the dark maze in Aghanim's tower is just a horrible dark room.
It looks like Gus is opting to buy some bombs first before heading it back up. Not knowing that, of course, there are some bombs up there, but, well, this is more sensible on his part than going up there first and counting on there being bombs there because the chances aren't that big.
Yeah, heading all the way back up and just backtracking to North and South Kakariko Village, it can waste a little bit of time. It's a good play to go and just buy bombs, just max out while he's here. Looks like both of these guys are going to make sure they're full out on bombs.
Yeah, it makes sense. It is probably the most reliable weapon at this point.
So far, other than the ice rod and that magical cape, there's not a whole lot, just some money and sorted heart piece, a few bombs and a bomb upgrade.
Yep, and a couple bottles, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how sparse it is. Always speaks well for the race game in my experience, though. If the rest of Kakariko Village is very sparse, we'll see what Space Cowboy decides to do in that regard.
Library, I think, had just 50 rupees. So, nothing of too much importance there. I thought Space Cowboy was going to head straight into the race game here. Ooh, silver arrows? Is that what that was?
That was silver arrows, so he's going to go back for those. Because you see them right there, you're definitely going to want them.
I wonder if Gus will just head straight in after checking the library.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, I'm personally fond of just going in blindly if Kakariko Village itself is so sparse, just because it feels like it's more likely to have something good hidden here, but you just go in. Nice.
Yep, and Gus is saving a little bit of time over his opponent, just heading straight in. There is a good percentage of finding an item here. Those gloves, I keep forgetting that they do have power gloves from the back of Escape. That opens up a few more opportunities for these guys. But I'd imagine they're still going to do South Shore, kind of stick to the early game routing. At least for a little bit.
The most noteworthy thing of the gloves, at least right now, is that they might make it. It means that King Zora himself is actually considered in logic already, so there is a potential for fake flippering paying off with just an immediate progression item as opposed to something very later on.
I saw, I think, 3 crystals for the Light World. The 6th crystal, one of the red crystals, as Eastern Palace.
Yep, I can confirm that. And there's the flippers as well, so it's definitely pointing us towards that Zora area, I'd say.
I expect both of these guys to grab, like Space Cowboy grabbed that full heart container. It's not something you want to pass up early on. A lot of runners go out of their way for that. Let's see how Space Cowboy handles all these baby mold worms. Nice. Very nice. Clean bomb kills.
And the flutes.
Yep. Flute, single arrow. Hey, a bomb upgrade. Yeah, Space Cowboy's going straight back to town. No sense in running all the way over to Ice Rod Cave. Let's go activate that flute.
Because he's effectively unlocked a shortcut for the players now. Flute is actually a really interesting item for routing too, because it means a couple of locations that you normally combine, like going to Ice Rod Cave straight after meeting Moldom Cave, suddenly would just become really attractive. Just leave off until later, until you're like checking single locations. You're always a short hop away from them now.
Yeah, it's not as costly of time to like check maybe Desert Ledge and Agana's Cave, or head up to the mountain and check the item on top of Pinnacle Rock and the item inside as well. Without the lantern, the old man is out of the logic, but you could try. I could see these guys going into dark rooms. The further we get into this tournament, the more dark rooms I expect to see from everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty. Space heading to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, I'm just probably gonna follow off and using those flippers to check out the easily accessible locations and that. He doesn't quite have the money for Zora, of course, but at this point, it doesn't matter too much. Who knows, maybe he'll find a 300 in here.
Yeah, he'd be very close if he could find himself a 300. Ooh, that's pretty nice too. Half magic from Ice Rod Cave. And already some deviation in routing. Gus is heading to Agina's cave. Agina, as some people say. And you were right. Space is jumping straight into the water.
Yeah. I'd rather think of this as Agony's cave, personally, because it's always agonizing when there's something important here.
Pulling on the lantern for good luck. And Titan's mitts. Wow.
Oh, wow. Speaking of something important being there.
Without the pearl, it's not a huge find, but it's one of those one-off locations that Space could put off for a while.
Yeah, though it might also just be a major progression log, considering it is the Titan's mitts, so unless he finds the hammer and the pearl anytime soon.
Oh, Hobo giving out the first sword upgrade to Space Cowboy there.
Yeah, it's also not a bad find.
Now, Aghanim, other than a fire source or a source of light, Aghanim's tower can be finished. Gus is heading in to get himself his half magic, but dodging those crabs with green mail, they do 2 full hearts of damage, and he's down to 1, so he really cannot handle taking a hit.
They are the most damaging enemies in the live world, I'm pretty certain. It's incredible how much damage they do.
Space getting a nice little health refill there. A 4th heart piece from the fairy fountain. He's at least going to check the ledge here in Zora's domain and see what it has to offer. Just another heart piece.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense for him to quickly check that, because, well, he's in a position where he can just go and pick it up, and it might be something really important.
If I were to guess, I would think he's heading to Sahasrara's hut to check those 3 items. I'm not sure if Space will head into Eastern Palace without the bow. It is definitely a play, but there is of course, the end of the dungeon locked by the bow, and one of the chests, the vanilla big key chest, is locked behind the logic for the lantern.
Yeah. So, and that dark room sequence in particular is really easy to do, and I see very few people skipping it.
Yeah, and now with the help of a sword that you can hold out and navigate in the dark with, I could see both Old Man and Eastern Palace dark room logic being broken here.
He's taking out his flute, so I think he's planning to go somewhere else now.
To the mountain. And yeah, he's gonna go and get the Old Man in the dark here.
Yeah, with the sword, this is pretty doable. You basically just hug where you know the walls are, and you'll avoid the pits in the process.
Yep, there's half of the Old Man cave down.
Yep, now he just has to do the same thing in reverse.
Meanwhile, Gus is saying hello to all of his brethren, and then heading back out of Zora's domain to flute away. Oh, he's heading to Sahasrara as well.
I wonder if he'll actually go into Eastern Palace, because he's got a couple of more locations out of the way, and there is, of course, this area in Dead Mountain, but there isn't really that much else we can do left in the open world.
No,
And the boom pearl has to be hiding somewhere.
Yeah, if these guys could find the lantern, I could see the moon pearl just sitting on top of the pyramid, which is always a really fun location.
We also learned that Turtle Rock is our green pendant today, so that's interesting with that ice rod already having been found.
Anytime you find early ice rod, that's usually how you get paid. Hey, did you see what that was on Space Cowboy?
I certainly saw what those were. I think those were things that make you go quick.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful Pegasus boots. Opens up a couple of locations. It actually opens up the bonk rocks for Space Cowboy, and if Gus can find them, which I'm sure he's on his way, he will be able to get into King's Tomb.
Yep, and early Titans, mitts, and boots. I'm saying there is something in King's Tomb, to be honest. Might not have to be true, but it always feels like if things line up this way, that's like, sure, there's something in there.
Ooh, also with the boots, if they can get access to Desert Palace, that well, other than a fire source, of course, for the end of Desert, that guarantees they can finish it, or they can at least, get the item off of the lamp within.
There we go. Space Cowboy now also going for the Akanus Cave play. Practically out of other locations outside of Eastern Palace, but it's good to see he's going to go for this first.
Very good routing for both of these guys. They're kind of following in each other's footsteps a little bit, but they're not leaving anything too far out of the way. And neither of them jumped into Eastern Palace, which is starting to seem like it might be just a waste of time.
It all depends on whether this King's Tomb will have anything.
True. There are 3 items to be found within Eastern Palace. If we can get to all of them is left to be seen, but
Of course, now we could see the things getting really creative, and the mirror being the thing hiding for us here in King's Tomb. Then the next thing we're gonna see is Desert Palace in all likelihood.
Here we go. Ooh, Moon Pearl.
Well, that's the Dark World access.
Indeed, and that's quite a lot that these guys could do. Well, I'm sure Gus is on his way. Well, no, it looks like he's pulling his flute out. Space Cowboy not wasting any time, though. He's heading straight to the Village of Outcasts.
You get a pretty busy Dark World map check in a little bit.
Pretty big deviation here. Gus is heading into Eastern Palace. This could pay out very favorably for him. Say he finds something like the mirror in Eastern Palace. That makes Dark World overworld routing much cleaner, a lot less backtracking that needs to be done. But again, it's a dungeon that he cannot finish with his current equipment, and there's no guarantee that he's going to find anything worthwhile.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if there is, it's definitely true that if there is something good here, that could be major, because Space Cowboy is going to leave off going here until he's either low on options or has the bow in all likelihood.
Oh, but there's the mirror for Space Cowboy.
Yeah, that is huge to find early Dark World exploration.
For sure. This means that he can double up Pod in Eastern if he would like, whenever he wants to head that direction.
It's also worth mentioning, by the way, that that gives us access to Swamp Palace, though you don't really want to go in there without the hammer, obviously. But that leads into what I was going to say next, which is that Swamp Palace and Skullwoods are other 2 pendants today. Fun little set here. We're actually pretty close to being able to complete most of those.
I could see Space heading back to the mountain pretty soon. He might try to hold off for a fire source for Tower of Hera for the basement, just in case. But he could go into Hera and possibly finish it as long as the big key's not in the basement.
Yep, and the chances of that happening are pretty good, actually. Nothing in Eastern so far, it looks like.
Alright, doing a little bit of overworld scavenging here. I like this play before heading into any dungeon. Maybe he'll get lucky and find, the hammer before heading into Thieves Town.
Yeah, and with the flutes and tight smiths in hand, leaving out Thieves Town in particular is a pretty good idea just because you can get back to it so easily. So if you want the hammer, you probably want to find the hammer first just so you'll never have to revisit it.
Let's see. He's not grabbing the lunchbox, the purple chest. Oh, I had to say something, didn't I? There he goes.
It's a good job you reminded him.
That's right. I guess he's going to walk up and check the C-shape house. Finding that cape early on, the bumper cave in Northern Dark World, that could hold something worthwhile as well. But that's a lot of walking with the purple chest. Without the hookshot, there's no way to, just dash with this chest.
He really does instead. You could, of course, just drop off the... Yeah, I think it's leaving the portal right there and just dropping off the tilted chest now so you can just dash everywhere.
Yep, and then when he flutes back to town, he'll be able to just jump straight back into that portal and head wherever he pleases. Heart container. Pretty healthy seed so far. Gus, by the way, I didn't notice till just now, he is farming for rupees. He's going to say hi to his father, I think.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's considering he stopped right as he hit 500 rupees.
Big key in the first chest Space Cowboy checks in Thieves Town. Very nice. It's always guaranteed in one of these first 4 chests. But there's the compass.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him actually going in here without the hammer.
Yeah, the more junk you find in the first 4 rooms of Thieves Town, the more likely it is you're going to be locked out of that big chest. And leaving something like that behind in any dungeon, it weighs on you as you're running around the rest of Hyrule. And there's the map.
Yeah, we just got a pretty worthwhile investment from King Zora actually, because he spit out the Master Sword for Gus after giving 500 rupees. We also just found the Cave of Samaria in Thieves Town.
Yeah, Samaria and Master Sword now for us spectators. Very nice. I'm not totally sure where Gus is going. Maybe to get some rupees from the library?
Maybe. The play he needs to make right now is actually going to King's Tomb and picking up the Moon Pearl. It's unfortunate it seems to have slipped his mind against the Titan Smiths.
He has, I don't believe, any other options at this point.
I don't think so, barring doing something like going Academy in the Dark, and of course the game doesn't expect you to ever do so.
Yeah, the only other thing I could think of is maybe Super Bunny into the Meyer shed, or checking the Meyer medallion requirement. Space Cowboy showing some good game knowledge after blowing the hole in the floor there to activate the blind boss fight. He also grabbed a couple of bombs there from those two skulls in the southern part of that room. It's always good. He is not running low on bombs, but lower than he would want to, especially with how many more bombable locations he's going to need to check.
Yeah, because he's probably going to make his way over to places like Hyper Cave and whatnot, so you do want to make sure you have those bombs ready to go.
Gus is doing a little bit of backtracking here. I'm sure it'll dawn on him. It is cool that he has the Master Sword already.
Yeah, that one extra sword upgrade in a rather out-of-the-way location that Spacecowboy doesn't really have much reason to return to could end up being a difference maker in the match in the long run.
And there we go. Gus is heading in, using the nice little hold your sword out and just kind of dash and rub against the tomb to make it open. It's a little bit faster than bonking into it.
I'm also happy to see that it didn't take him too long to find out that this was the place he was missing.
Phase 1 of Blind by the books for Spacecowboy.
A little bit off there, but yeah, he's just gonna take out the Cane of Burner, just make certain he can finish this fight off safely. Meantime, we see that Bombos medallion we have is also going to be required to enter Misery Mire.
A couple of quick chest checks for Gus here.
I also believe, if I've been looking at the items right at Spacecowboy got, he got lucky in that regard, and that the big chest in Tombstone appears to be hiding the map.
Ooh, Space is heading north in the Dark World. A bumper cave probably. Check. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense with that cave having been found already, and then we can quickly hop to the Graveyard Ledge as well.
Nothing of merit in Bumper Cave. That's right, Graveyard Ledge, and if he wanted to, he could route further east to Catfish. Since he does have those flippers, he could just jump straight in the water and jump up on the dock to get over there. While Gus, without Fire Rod, is heading into Skull Woods, the front of Skull Woods. I like this. Even though there are only 2 items to be found in Skull Woods, and you're not guaranteed they'd even be in the front, sometimes they could be very important. It always feels good when you go into a dungeon without being able to complete it and finding progression. Hey, a boomerang.
That's nice. It's not particularly important to have a boomerang, but it is a little bit convenient for a couple of rooms in Ganon's Tower and stuff like that to have that boomerang sitting around.
Yeah, and it also helps kind of shape your menu. Hey, there's Ether for Gus here in Skull Woods. Finding things like the boomerang also, it does like help out your menus.
Yeah, not having to go through 8 items to get to one item just because you can't push up or down in the right spots can make a large difference over time.
Yeah, and then you realize you could have just hit left once to get to what you needed to. Making immediate use of that Ether medallion that he found.
Yeah, that's some good game knowledge there, that the Ether medallion actually instantly kills all the enemies in this particular room.
But he is given a compass for his troubles. Spacecowboy is hot on his tail. He will not have to worry about this room as much, the Gibdos room with the 2 jellies and the Wallmaster, because he does have that Cane of Samaria. He can just throw a block right down on that button. Very, very quick way to get through that room. A lot less dangerous, even with these guys sitting on pretty good health.
Yeah. It's, like, regardless of anything, if you have some way to make that room easier, it's definitely worth just doing it, because it's one of the most annoying rooms to do quickly in the game.
He's already switched to his Cane of Samaria. I like it. I like it a lot. Gus is heading into the village of outcasts. Struggling with this thief here a little bit. I'd imagine he's going to have his mirror in hand very soon as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether he opts to go into Thieves Town just like Space Cowboy did, or if he goes south to Hype Cave and such first.
The downfall of having, like, say, this equipment that they have, the Mirror, the Pearl, and Titan's Mitts, anytime they go into Dark World, if they want to go to the east side, or the southern east side of Dark World, they have to trek all the way from the town, from Kakariko or from the Village of Outcasts. So clearing things as you progress through the overworld is pretty important until they find the hammer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's similar to the difference between... it's very similar to having the flute or not having the flute for light world exploration. Because taking into account how long it takes you to get back to a spot is really important for your routing.
Space Cowboy did it earlier, and Gus is doing it now. This digging game here, if you have a follower, either the frog or the purple chest, oh, he doesn't have enough money, 80 rupees. Well, as I was saying, if you have a follower, you actually can't do the digging game, so getting it out of the way first and then doing the rest of your little fetch quests here in town is pretty useful. But man, short on rupees, that visit to Zora after farming, it did pay off with that Master Sword, but unfortunately now he's going to have to find some money elsewhere.
Yeah, generally speaking, the game will provide, but occasionally in situations like this, you just end up in that awkward position where, oh, I don't have the money for this thing that I normally can just do without any issue whatsoever.
Here's Hype Cave. Yeah, okay, Blue Mail. At least it ended on a high note.
Yeah, Blue Mail is a very nice final. The basic effect of it is just halving the damage intake. It's not quite halving. There's a couple of things that just hit just as hard anyway, but it's still very nice little survivability increase.
Definitely. A lot of options for both of these guys at this point. Looks like Space Cowboy might be heading to Eastern as well. And we know that did not pay out for Gus. Did he head into the dark room in the back? I think he did.
Yeah, he did. Didn't have anything at the end either, so there was just... I think it was just hearts and bombs found in the entirety of Eastern Palace.
This is a very good opportunity for Gus to catch up a little bit. Him forgetting about King's Tomb with the Titan's Mitts and Pegasus Boots combo. It cost him a little bit of time, not a lot, a few minutes. But this is a perfect opportunity for him to catch up. Ooh, look at this! Heading back to the library.
Yeah, this is really... I really like this. This is really clever and really good memory of an item that was hiding out that is actually kind of needed for him right now, because this will allow him to just check the digging game.
Very nice. Meanwhile, Space is finding that 300 at the hookshot chest in Eastern, and now he's sitting on over 1,000 rupees.
Yep, it's funny how that goes.
Gus might decide to keep on digging even after he finds the item here, just to stock up on a few more rupees. He is going to need 110 for pod. Oh, well, never mind. Of course.
Okay,
of course, I forgot that it was...
That definitely explains. It reminds me of what the money disparity is, what it is.
There's the checkerboard cave. That could be checked, and desert is accessible now. So is Tower of Hera.
we are also in a position where we can potentially already clear Misery Mire. There is a little bit of risk involved in case the big key is locked behind needing a fire source, but that is also a possibility.
That's right. There are two chests that are both blocked by lanterns, by torch puzzles in Misery Mire. And there are also two items to be found in Misery Mire. So one of those could be a fire source, the fire rod or the lantern.
Yeah, though I imagine in this particular, the last thing Space Cowboy or Gus wants to do right now is Misery Mire, because they're not particularly well equipped for the dungeon.
No, not at all. And Gus actually hasn't went into Thieves Town to even find his Samaria cane yet. And he's definitely not thinking about it, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Ooh, there's also the painful thought of that first chest in Swamp Palace that is accessible. Can't go any further without the hammer, but it's one of those locations that can be very trolly. I mean, it could be the hammer.
We also, of course, got access to Desert Palace right now, and I think about it. Maybe you mentioned that already.
Look at what Gus is doing. I feel like I'm sending my energy and my thoughts to him.
I mean, if he does find the hammer there, there's hammer here in Swamp Palace right now, this will be amazing.
It could be another form of progression. Even the lantern would be pretty cool to find in this single location that's accessible.
You can check Boss Cave there.
Space probably heading into Desert Palace. Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense. You can definitely clear the entire front half.
Oh, an empty bottle for Gus.
Yeah. That's disappointing if you go through all this effort.
Yeah, warping back and forth, it definitely costs some time, but it's one of those gambles that, hey, if it pays off in a big way. Also, boots not required for the front of Desert. It's pretty cool.
Yep, of course the boots were found relatively early for better runners and were vital to even getting to this place in the first place, but...
Heart piece here on Lake Hylia Island. I actually let it slip my mind that with Bombos and Titan's Mitts in hand, they could head to Ice Palace if they so chose. Without the hammer, again, I mean, the hammer could be in there, but without the hammer, there are a couple of chests that are off limits, as well as you can't get to the boss. You cannot get to Cold Stare without the hammer.
Yeah. But it looks like he's instead heading to one of the other dungeons that you can't complete without the hammer, the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, the hammer's definitely going to give both of these guys a little bit of trouble. Oh, maybe not.
Oh,
it is in Desert Palace, in the big chest.
Yeah, that's really good news for Space Cowboy. He's of course going to have to leave for now because he doesn't have a fire source to complete the dungeon with, but it looks like this is enough for him to decide to go up to Tower of Hera and probably East Dead Mountain. Because previously he wasn't actually capable of even getting into the East Dead Mountain area, because without the hookshot or the hammer, there's just no way to get there.
Yeah, with that hammer mirror combo though, especially with Titan's Mitts as well, he has a lot of locations to check here on the mountain. He's probably going to be on this mountain for a good little while. Routing the mountain can be kind of a pain. Given this gear that he has, not sure how he'll choose to do it. He might go straight into Hera while he's here, just to see if he's locked, fire locked, right from the get-go.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad call. Looks like the call he's making too.
There is one of the items in Hera. There are two to be found in that heart piece in the basement.
Yep, it's
not
time
much.
for a 50-50.
Ooh, big chest, or big key. He can go kill Moldorm.
Yep, and having already found one of the items, there's a pretty good chance that he'll find one of the other items along the way.
Good use of the hammer. One of those, oh no, one of those beetles jumped straight into the pit, and then Space followed in after him.
And it looks like Gus is about to demonstrate one of the more recently discovered glitches in this particular game. Where if you use... You'll need to spend a little bit of magic there. Yeah, there you go.
That's right, if you use a bottle with green, blue, or red goo in it, and you don't stop moving, you can actually keep the screen from locking. See how you can see the right side of the screen there? Now, by grabbing the wall from a neutral position, we can move the mimics around, get them off screen, and unlock the door without the bow.
Yep, it's very well done. It's a fairly recently discovered glitch, and it is, well, as you can see, it's allowed in tournament rules. And it'll allow you to check these two chests in the bow locked section of the pod, making the early pod play just a little bit more attractive if you have a bottle but don't have to bail.
And that big key on the east side of pod right there, that opens up some more locations. Big key and a small key. Nice. That potion glitch is very, very easy. It's as easy as just you don't stop moving whenever you use the potion. Alternatively, you can also kill yourself with a fairy in a bottle and just don't stop holding left whenever you're getting revived, and it'll also keep the screen from locking to where you can move those mimics off to the left side.
Okay, that's interesting. I actually didn't know it also worked with a fairy in a bottle if you did it that way.
I just tested it today and found out. I was under the impression that YBAs were the potion glitches that everybody was talking about, not what Gus just did. I'm glad I found out before I did a major glitch in the middle of a match.
Yeah, YBAs are a well different thing, and also definitely not anything allowed in the tournament.
Wow, Space Cowboy just putting this caterpillar down.
Very well done.
Beautiful fight. While Gus finds a single green rupee in the back of the pod. Two crystals down.
Does look like there's an item hiding in the basement of Tower of Arrows, so that might be something that needs to be revisited later.
I could see a fire source being hidden somewhere on the mountain, light or dark. With those Titan's mitts, he can't get to everything without the hook shot in that hook shot cave. But there are a few items in the dark world as well as a ton of items here in the light world to find or to check. Ooh. Oh, never mind. I think that's the fourth time I've done that to myself. The hook shot is on the floating island.
At least it isn't the hookshot in Hookshot Cave. You just want to reach it through Hookshot Cave.
I think I've seen that a few times. The chest that you have to bonk across the pits to reach. There is that far bottom chest that you can bonk to, and it can hold the hook shot. Gus handling the dark room well, but getting hit by a lot of those fireballs. It looks like he's going to just take advantage of his half magic and Cane of Brian, but now he has less of an idea where he is.
This is a pretty tricky dark room to navigate through.
There we go. He killed the Dodongo. So now he can get to this bottom chest. Did not see what it gave him.
I think it ended up... Actually, his rupee counter just went up massively, so I guess it was a bunch of rupees.
Looks like Pod was a bust. Another magic refill there. Gus is playing on the wild side here. He's running around with half or less of a heart.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't opt to just do a death warp for the refill in Paths of Darkness just now.
Good game knowledge, grabbing that fairy. Also, Space Cowboy pulled off a really quick bomb jump to get back across that pit.
Mm-hmm. Now to see what the dungeon we don't want to enter has as an entry requirement.
We're getting a nice pyramid check here as well.
And it was the Eater medallion, so Space Cowboy can actually enter Turtle Rock if he so desires, though he's probably leaving that off for a bit.
Yeah, he opted to not even open up the entrance. So unless, I mean, it could be nice to just not have to go in there at all.
Mm-hmm.
But there is still a couple of items that are very important to be found. The bow and fire rod would both be nice.
Yeah. Of course, the fire rod is a little bit less likely to be in Turtle Rock, or at least deeper in Turtle Rock, just because it's likely that there's a key off on that fire rod locked section of it.
Yeah, you'd have to get pretty unlucky to have to head to the back of T-Rock to find the fire rod, but it does happen, and then you have to head all the way back to the front for small keys, and sometimes, you know, sometimes a big key. All right, Space is about to get himself the hookshot and then head straight back into Hookshot Cave. The Kane and Brian, the magical cape, a bunch of bottles, as well as half magic, does put Spike Cave into play.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if he'll route that in at the end of this mountain skirmish here.
With him leaving Turtle Rock close, I'm actually seeing it fairly likely that he does so, depending on if he finds anything.
Ooh, that opens a few things.
He's gonna check while he's up on the mountain.
Unfortunately, he only has the fighter sword, so the only thing he can do with the ether tablet is to check and read what it has within.
Yeah.
But once Gus finds his hammer and heads up to the mountain, he'll be able to actually pull whatever it is off of the ether tablet.
Mm-hmm. And that could make a difference if this is something important. Well, never mind.
Speaking of Gus finding himself a hammer.
Ah, nice. He needs to pick up the big key first. Whoops. He'll be back there shortly to pick up the hammer.
I like that Space Cowboy is choosing to spend some of his health first before using the Kane and Brian. Whoa, pulled it. Got a little close there, though. Using up his health and saving his magic for after the save and quit. Half magic, it's not super important, but it is a good move.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, because as you can see, he's back to full health, but he wouldn't have been back to full magic at this point, so you might as well use that health first.
With the book and mirror, he could check the Bombos tablet. He could go pretty far out of his way at the moment to check the Master Sword pedestal as well, but nope, he is heading into Ice Palace.
It does make sense. It's a crystal dungeon, and he can and does need to clear it at some point anyway.
Hookshot and Cane of Samaria also make it pretty easy to navigate, even if you don't get an early small key in that first penguin room.
Yeah, the hardest part is actually going to be dealing with Cold Stare, because it's, well, with the fighter sword, it's likely going to be a Hammer Cold Stare, and Hammer Cold Stare is not the easiest thing.
No, it definitely is not. I think the only refills, the only reserves he has is a green pot currently.
Mhm.
That's quite painful. Very good use of hook shot. Single hit kill on these penguins. Ooh, a map for his troubles. Gus looks to be starting out his mountain visit with the Spike Cave, routing backwards from how Space Cowboy had.
That's a very interesting play, actually. Very aggressive. Ah.
Get himself some spin speed. Oh, there we go.
Oh, and he accidentally cancelled it, looks like.
Yeah,
That's a shame, because it is actually a pretty sleek way of getting back through Spike Cave if you want to. But just saving putting back to the Mountain Cave also does well.
Space setting up the Ice Palace bomb jump.
Possibly the most well-known of the bomb jumps.
This bomb jump in Vanilla and Randomizer just breaks this dungeon wide open, even without having the Cane of Samaria or the hook shot. It helps get around this dungeon quite a bit.
It is a little bit finicky though.
Oh no! Well, he's already done it once. Some rage slashes there.
Yeah, it does have plenty of bombs to keep attempting this at least. And ooh, there he goes, gets it in the first try that time.
Beautiful, yeah. Very clean that time around. Something I just realized, whenever Gus does make his way to Thieves Town, we'll be able to see, ooh, he fell in one of those pits, the same ones, or one of the same pits that Space Cowboy fell in. He'll be able to check that big chest in Thieves Town, which I'm not sure, but I think it had something in it.
It might have had. I thought it might have had a map in it, but it's hard to keep track of that way you're not playing yourself.
Oh, for sure. I just remember seeing a lot of junk and actually mentioning how junk in early Thieves Town is never a good sign.
Yeah,
at least when you're hammerless. There's the big key for Space Cowboy and Ice Palace. Ooh, and now he's backtracking. I like this. Instead of concerning himself with a bomb jump across that pit where those two ice golems were, he's just going to head back this way and jump straight down. Also grabbing
Speaking of bomb jumps, Gus actually just did a rather unusual setup for the Tower of Hera bomb jump, which involved placing the bomb while moving upwards and then doing the spin attack releasing to not fall off the edge. It's very sleek.
Yeah, whenever you hold out your sword and you charge up a spin attack, if you try to release it while you're falling into a pit, it will not let you. So if you hold away from the pit, the moment you're on the edge where you won't fall in, your spin attack will be released, and you know you're safe. It's a really cool setup that I didn't know about until Randomizer.
Yeah,
seeing it here.
It's particularly very good for these very precise little bomb jumps, like the one in Tower of Hera.
Yeah, any bomb jump that you fall to a different floor is never fun to fail. Tower of Hera especially, you just fall down back to the lobby if you haven't hit the star button or the star switch. That's not fun. Ice Palace also, there's some bomb jumps that if you miss them and fall to a lower floor, you have to go the long way around to check the rest of these chests, which I don't think he's found anything of merit so far. Space Cowboy here in Ice Palace.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, there's a 300. I believe that's the second of the 3 items that can be found in Ice Palace.
Definitely sounds about right.
Gus is choosing to open up Turtle Rock while he's up here, but he hasn't been into Thieves Town to find his Cane of Samaria.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice move. Nice move from Space Cowboy there. Using the hook shot to hook through the blocks as he pushes them, but it did not pay off.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there was anything particularly good over here in Ice Palace, sadly. Gonna quickly take a refill here from the refill pots, I think, unless he hasn't been to the iced tea room.
I may have miscounted. There might still be a third item for him to find. That red Zora looks really awesome. I like that a lot. Now he just needs Tempered Sword and a Fire Shield.
Yeah, just go in, all in on the team.
Space Cowboy does have 3 small keys, so it's a... Oh, it's the compass. So if he's missing an item, then that means the Cold Stare has it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if when he opens his menu, if he already has the map and compass now.
I believe the map was the very first thing he found in that first penguin room. So yeah, I must have miscounted, and he's still looking for one more item.
Yep, it does look like it. There's going to be something on Cold Stare, so it might be important here.
Even though he hasn't found anything, any progression items here in Ice Palace, it is a crystal dungeon, and he's constantly making progress. This will be his 3rd, I do believe.
Yeah, doing a crystal dungeon is never a waste of time, really.
Ooh, it was a good plan to try to use a fighter sword spin attack to get him grouped up against the wall or maybe in the corner, and then start hammering away. But
yeah, the hitting with the hammer is tricky. The hitbox is really small compared to the sword, and it's kind of awkward. It's usually locked in place way longer too.
And it doesn't help that Cold Stare also has a very weird hitbox. Wow, they were not being nice to him at all. This is an option. He can just spin attack away with the magical cape and keep popping green potions. Not a bad plan. With a half heart.
It's a very good safety thing.
Ooh, that ice cube that fell from the sky, it exploded in one of the smaller ice cubes. Right on top of him. That's intense.
The only annoying thing looks like there's one down. But it looks like he's getting this slight problem occasionally. This sword decides to poke the Cold Stare pass, and that does nothing but does prevent you from releasing the spin attack. But it does seem to be working. One down already.
Pre-charging the sword before using his cape.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to preserve his magic as far as possible while keeping things safe.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the fighter sword and having to do spin attacks to even damage these puffs of Cold Stare, it leaves you very vulnerable for the ice falling from the ceiling.
Oh, that hurts to see. He had 2 of them down too.
It was a very good show, though. Very good show.
Definitely.
He has the money to go and refill his pots, though. Go back for some revenge.
Yeah.
He also has the money to upgrade his sword once he heads to Zora. He could double up Catfish and Zora as well, if he wants.
Interestingly, he's opting to do Palace of Darkness now. We already know from seeing Gus doing it that he's not going to get much payoff for it, sadly, but guess he figures he might as well at this point. If he does find, and in his mind, of course, if he does find the bow in here, he can just immediately clear the dungeon.
Yeah, and there are 5 items to be found in Palace of Darkness. He could be hoping for a fire source, the bow. Having the mirror and hammer in hand heading into this dungeon is pretty nice. You know you're not going to have to do too much backtracking and walking around, just wasting time. So it is a good choice to come in here.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with the choice to just go somewhere else instead of charging straight back into Ice Palace. It just hurts to see how he lost that fight.
Ooh, he could be hoping for a sword upgrade as well here in Palace of Darkness. Even if he doesn't find the bow, he could be hoping for that, and we know it's not going to happen, unfortunately.
Gus meanwhile is giving us Ice Palace again, so we might be seeing what that item Cold Star is holding actually is in a little while.
I wonder if Gus will head back into Swamp Palace with the hookshot and hammer. He did head in there earlier to gamble on that first chest, so it is a possibility. There's a lot more items to be found in there. 5 more other than that empty bottle.
Yep, it's definitely not a bad plan. It is of course a pendant dungeon, but going by his playstyle so far, I think his problem finding Moonpearl in King's Doom actually has led him to believe he's behind, so he's gambling a little bit more than Space Cowboy is doing.
Great bomb jump from Gus there. Looked like his shadow, the Zora sprite's shadow, is a little obscured because it's a very big sprite. Sometimes that causes bomb jumps to be a little bit more difficult, but he handled it just fine.
Yep.
Nice little baby Helmasaur dodge there from Space Cowboy. Both of these guys have been showing very good game knowledge as well as just movement tech and combat ability as well. With the dark rooms and the whatnot. Let's see how Gus routes Ice Palace. Looks like he's going to go straight to the big chest right away.
Yeah, Ice Palace routing is actually really weird and complicated to figure out how you want to go through this dungeon. Because there's no good singular path that's like, okay, this is the one that just gets me to everything the quickest.
My favorite
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say my favorite is finding a small key in that first penguin room, because then you can kind of head to the more congested area of chests right away with the hammer. Those 3 chests. Sometimes that's really nice, but it doesn't happen very often that you find the small key.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you. If you do find that small key there, it makes the dungeon a lot more fun to route.
Space is handling the Dark Maze pretty well.
Yeah, I actually saw him pause for a little bit before entering it, so I think he might have been opening up a map on a second screen or something like that. Which is a very understandable decision and something I definitely recommend doing if you want to navigate these dark rooms and haven't memorized them yet.
Oh, definitely. The dark mazes, having a map can help out a lot, but there are some dark rooms, like the Misery Mire dark room, that you just have to practice it with the lantern and get a good idea of, what you have to do to get that Samaria block down on that button. It's such a pain.
Yes. There are a bunch of setups for it, but it's something you definitely want to practice first as opposed to just throwing yourself in there, because if you've never practiced it and try to do it, you'll just fumble around for a while and then eventually get shot a bunch by the turrets.
Yeah, 2 fireballs, at least 2 fireballs always shooting at you while you're trying to get that block on the button. Ooh, Space Cowboy having the same trouble that Gus did in the Dark Maze with those Dodongos just beating him near to death. He has a heart left. He just
Yeah,
found
they can, like, the worst part of him isn't even, like, the fact that his red mail isn't actually helping him. These things always do 1 damage, 1 heart of damage.
yeah, most forms of fire, the fire bars and fire snakes, as well as spikes, they usually do a solid heart of damage no matter what armor you're wearing. And he doesn't have the big key, which was on the east side. It was hidden behind the mimics.
Yeah, he wasn't even able of getting there on this particular entry because he used up his potions doing cold stare and hadn't bought a refill. I think we're going to see the Nevermind. He is going to grab some potions, I guess. I was thinking he was going to hit the Swamp Palace with where he was going.
With 1,800 rupees, oh, what's he deciding to do? Changed up his plan right there.
Mm-hmm. I think the amount of rupees he has reminds him that he hasn't checked Sora yet, so he's going to pick up the Master Sword shortly.
Good call. He might also... Well, no, I was going to say he might opt to check to see what the Fairy Fountain gives him in his bottles for free, but he's very rich. He can just buy the sword upgrade and then go buy a bunch of blue potions and show Cold Stare what for. Speaking of Cold Stare, let's see how Gus does this.
Yeah, having the Master Sword here is a pretty big advantage because it means you can actually hit the boss with your regular sword swings instead of relying on spins. Which, while the hammer would do more damage, it can be very handy to just occasionally corral them away with your sword, or you can just opt to go for full sword strat because it is a lot easier and a lot less risky, even if it takes a lot of hits with the Master Sword. Very aggressive. I like it. It's working well for him to just keep hitting these puffs and just knocking them away. Yeah,
he's completely ignoring the ice cubes falling down on his head. He does not care. He has plenty of health. And there it is.
Beautifully done for a Master Sword Cold Stare.
Oh
just
no.
20 rupees.
That is another crystal though. That is 2 for Gus. He needs to make his way to Thieves Town eventually. Get himself that Cane of Samaria as well as checking that big chest. So I'm so curious.
Yeah, me too. Oh no, here comes the flute. Is he going to tree? There we go. I think we're seeing the Thieves Town play on Gus's part now.
Nice. There are a couple of locations that these guys, like the overworld locations that these guys could check, like the Bombos Tablet is one that has been overlooked so far. It's one of those singular locations, though. It's, you know, a one-off that you have to go out of your way for, quite a bit out of your way for. Other than Swamp, I'm not sure that they have a whole lot of places to check left.
And that's otherwise the overworld is the Bombos Tablet you just mentioned, the big cave on Tracker Raspberry Floof just mentioned, and yeah, otherwise it's basically just dungeon dips left. And some of those are kind of risky dungeon dips.
There is also Turtle Rock, which, if you don't get a small key or you know, some progression item in that chest to the left of the main hub and the front of Turtle Rock. Speaking of Canis Maria, Gus found his. If you don't find progression item or a small key, then that's basically like a bow locked pod where you're just stuck right at the beginning.
Yeah, it's interesting that so far the major progression point, though, that is really eluding our runners is actually having just some kind of source of fire to get through the rooms that are locked by that.
Yeah, if it's not here in Thieves Town, I could see it being in one of the lit rooms or one of the rooms of Misery Mire, possibly. That would be quite a pain to head into a dungeon that has 2 torch puzzles to find your fire source.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of finding the hammer and ice powders.
Or basically any vanilla progression item location, bow in Eastern or hookshot in Swamp. That's a painful one as well.
Yeah, hookshot in Swamp is probably the worst of those in my opinion. It's very time consuming to get anywhere in Swamp. Yeah,
that western side, having to jump down each of those pits to get to those 2 chests, just to find the map and compass. Always, Space Cowboy made really quick work of his second visit to Ice Palace here.
Yeah, he definitely wants to get revenge on Quartz there. I should have a bit of an easier time now. And if he has to resort to the cape and sword strats again, he at least has a sword that can just hit the boss now.
Ooh, unfortunately with the Master Sword, a poke still doesn't do anything. I don't believe does anything at all to the Cold Stare Puffs. And it looked like one of the Puffs just stole his attack from him while he was trying to charge a spin attack.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Very aggressive fight, though. He's doing well. Nice dash. And finishes him off with a couple of hammers. He gets his revenge.
It looks like there was actually an item in the Thieves Town big chest, but sadly it was just 20 rupees.
Yeah. Did not pay off. But now my curiosity is, sated.
It'll be interesting to see now where Spacecowboy decides to go. And I have a feeling it's Misery Maya.
Gus handled blind very well. Just got to the 3rd phase and then just started tanking fireballs and getting headbutt by the spinning heads. Got the 3 hits in for the last phase. Very aggressive boss fights from Gus.
I like it.
I like it as well. He knows how much health he has, and he's putting that red mail to use. A little bit of a mind change here from Gus. Oh, he has hammer now. Hammer pegs. Completely forgot about this.
Yeah, there might be something good here. And for him, it's very convenient to just route it in right now because he was in the area anyway.
So much fun to hammer dash through those pegs.
It's one of the more satisfying things to do.
Oh, 20 rupees.
Yeah, it's very typical.
There is a fire source. There's the lantern. And Misery Mire.
In Misery Maya. Well, it's a good find for Space Cowboy because it's going to make actually clearing the dungeon a lot easier.
He still needs to find the big key as well as the second item in this dungeon. It could be very important. But now, yeah, he has no trouble of completely finishing the dungeon, and he doesn't have to worry about that pesky button in the Mire Dark Room.
Yeah, exactly.
Mire Basement. I like what Space Cowboy is doing here. This is how I choose to route out Mire as well. To kind of clear out this main hub without heading down to the basement first, in hopes of finding the 2 items in the big key without having to do the push block torch puzzle, because there's such a long animation. Oh, I say that and then he backs straight in. Maybe he's doing this first torch puzzle though.
Yeah, it's interesting. Of course, he has found the big key already, but if you do this torch puzzle room, and this room up here has a small key in it, it is guaranteed that the big key is actually in its vanilla location. It's a weird little item logic thing. It's interesting to keep in mind and do that ability just for that reason.
Yep. Luckily for him, he finds a heart piece that not only lets him know, hey, I can go ahead and finish this dungeon, go kill Vitreous, but it also gave him a full refill right before heading to the boss. Very convenient. And he's going to top off his magic as well.
Interesting that Gus appears to be going the wildly different route and looks to be making his way back up that mountain, and this is probably diving into Total Rock.
If he happens to find the bow here, that could be a very big play for him.
Definitely. And Space Cowboy is actually doing a pretty good demonstration there of why doing that room in the dark is really finicky, because the hitbox for the Samaria block being on the button is a lot more precise than you think it is.
And if you get shot by a fireball while you actually have the button pressed by a Samaria block, sometimes you just clip inside the Samaria block and then you try to step off and you just push the button, or you push the block straight off the button. It's a real pain. Even in the light, even with the lantern. Gus did find a small key in that bottom left room from the main hub here. So he will be able to continue a little bit into Turtle Rock.
Yep, we'll see if the chain jump room also provides.
Good use of Samaria, another small key, so he can progress while Space Cowboy is using the good old magic cape spin attack combo on Vitreous here.
Yeah, it's definitely his best option without the bow. There we go, cuts the tricky part down. Now it's just a matter of patience. This is going to be the quickest of Vitreous fights, but it is incredibly safe to do this. And that's what matters, really. The last thing you want to do is have to go back through Misery Mire.
Ooh, wow. The Zora bunny sprite is terrifying for anybody that happened to see that. And man, these Pokies are a real pain whenever you're working with Master Sword. Gus is down to a single heart, taking a laser to the face there. Ouch.
Let's see if this is the big key. Well, there you go. He can continue exploring Turtle Rock.
Yeah, he has access to the Mimic Cave. He has access to a little bit further into the dungeon.
There's still more chances for finding a small key now to be able to get to the laser bridge, which is both fortunate and unfortunate at the same time.
Great Misery Mire Desert combo from Space Cowboy here. With that lantern in hand, with a fire source in hand, he is able to head into the back, into Desert 2, and finish it out.
And we see that Gus actually successfully continued the loot table manipulation from earlier on in the game in Aghadim's Tower and got a fairy from the Pokey. Wait a minute, this isn't NMG.
I love the vanilla jokes. I love it. Prize packs do come into play quite a bit in Randomizer, at least early on. Manipulating one from that early on for Turtle Rock, that'd be pretty crazy. You'd have to have a pretty good memory.
Crazy. Yeah, you wouldn't do that in Randomizer. It is something that is actually a thing people do for Total Rock in the NMG run of the game.
Yep, those two dagger above their head guards in Aghanim's tower, they share a prize pack with the Pokies. So if you kill them with dashes, killing anything with a dash guarantees a 0 drop rate. You can actually save a fairy drop for T-Rock from very early in the game instead of, wasting it killing those dagger guards.
Exactly. Guess you'd rather have a third drop here.
He's trying to use that ice rod on Landmolus, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. It's a little finicky. It's kind of slow and sluggish, and the hitbox isn't what you think it is. It's not what it looks. Oh, fetch quest, mushroom. What do you have another crystal?
Yeah, and meanwhile, it looks like Gus is actually going to be able to make his way all the way to the laser bridge.
I hope Space Cowboy goes straight to Maple the Witch and turns in that mushroom. He could also use the cane and mushroom to do the powder glitch in Batcave if he chose to. But it looks like no, he's going to ignore the fetch quest.
I think he's decided that it's time to do dungeons now.
Yeah, and Swamp Palace does hold 6 items to his knowledge. Well, does he have... No, he can't have the 5th and 6th crystals because Eastern Palace is one of them. Oh, he's routing in Catfish.
I guess he's going to hand in the mushroom and routing Catfish at the same time.
And he hasn't. Yeah, and he hasn't checked Pyramid apparently. Ooh, Gus using his invincibility frames there. Well done on his part.
It's always good to remember you have those. You do have time to fall into a pit. Oh my god.
Do you remember early in this seed when you mentioned how it's highly unlikely for Fire Rod to be in Turtle Rock?
Yeah.
Just because of that east... Yeah, because of that east side, the 2 chests hidden behind a Fire Rod Samaria-like bridge puzzle.
There's something... You know what's even worse?
What is that?
If he wants to complete the dungeon right now, there is a small key in that right side room that he needs to pick up to be able to go back to Trinex.
That's right. As well as one of the 5 items to be found in this dungeon, because he has all of the dungeon items already. Trinex holds an item, as well as one of those 2 chests on the east side. So he might be visiting Turtle Rock again later. If the bow isn't, here at Catfish or maybe in Swamp. My goodness.
That's certainly something. And, well, let's hope for him that he doesn't have to go back in there. Because it's basically a mandatory double dip D-Rock. It technically isn't, but it might as well, because it's going to make you go back and forth through the dungeon twice anyway.
Heart container from the Catfish. That's unfortunate. Gus will be able to, with the Fire Rod, not with the Lantern, which is pretty neat how the seed's playing out, he'll be able to knock out Desert and then head into Misery Mire with his fire source to find his secondary fire source.
Wait, he might have some magic refills and potions and such yet, because he's a little bit low on magic to be able to open the door here right now.
Oh, he's looking for that magic. There it is. Nice.
Half magic, it's exactly enough, so now he won't be able to use it against the boss, of course. On the other hand, he did pick up the Temple Sword in Mimic Cave, so this shouldn't be too bad, even without that magic use.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to find a another shield upgrade, so he has that full red ensemble. Great first phase on Landmolus. Getting pegged by some of these rocks, though. Ooh, a Bombos check. Aw, oh, big 20. Womp womp.
We should have known at this point, because it seems like all those out-of-the-way overworld locations are just waiting for us with big 20s.
That gamble for Fire Rod, man. Gus made a big play there with that. It could be a minute before Space Cowboy heads in there. Skullwoods is a pendant?
Yeah, that's actually is an interesting point, because we are at the point now where Gus could actually complete all 3 pendant dungeons. It's,
yeah,
so we have the possibility of whatever items we're still missing being on that famous pedestal. In this case, it would be the bow, but I don't think that'll happen. It's rather unlikely, but you'll never know. You never know.
With Swamp, Skullwoods, and Turtle Rock all being dependent dungeons, yeah, the Pedestal Dream is still alive. Both of these guys have the book. They could find out very quickly, and technically, I mean, that would put Gus in no mode, and he wouldn't have to search for anything else other than big keys at that point. So, man, if Space Cowboy doesn't find the bow here in Swamp, it's a lot less of there's not much left for them to check, I don't believe. Yeah, it can't be the Fat Fairy, because that is bow locked.
Yeah, we're either looking at it being the remaining item in Skullwoods, it being an item here in Swamp Palace, being one of the effectively 2 remaining items from Turtle Rock, or on the pedestal. So we're actually really low on options at this point.
Sahasrara with that green pendant, maybe. That's pretty painful, though.
Yeah, especially considering the way Turtle Rock is laid out this time.
There's no... I'm not hoping for a really trolly seed for these guys,
No.
but at the same time, the way it's already played out, this is a pretty good race. Considering how it started with Gus forgetting about the Titan's Mitts and Boots leading to King's Tomb, lost a few minutes from that, and then that crazy gamble into T-Rock for the Fire Rod. That's
been interesting.
It's been very interesting. This whole tournament's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed the sort of new game mode we've actually put together here with the randomized weapons from Uncle. It adds a little bit of spice to the early part of the run, and it changes your routing pretty majorly sometimes, depending on what items you start with.
Yeah, I have to admit, I have not practiced some of the Uncle weapons that he gives you. The bombs is a big one. I mean, I can make do if I need to, but it's very easy to just waste them.
Yeah, definitely.
Bow's always a great one. Bow is
always really satisfying. It's just satisfying to use in the escape to begin with, and it also means it's just one less important item you have to track down.
Ironically, I think Space Cowboy's bio says that he always prefers to find the bow at Uncle. Hey, there's the 4th sword upgrade. Now we know. Space found it there in Swamp Palace. So if Gus heads to Swamp Palace, he'll have the gold sword in hand, and my red outfit Zora red outfit, is that dream will be dead, unfortunately.
I mean, he does seem to have like yellow on his fins at the side of his head, so there's a little bit of teaming still there.
Yeah, and he could just find 2 shield upgrades and run around with the mirror shield and the gold sword, and that'd look pretty amazing, with his golden fins sticking out of his head and whatnot.
Yeah, we're about to get to look at the swamp item-wise.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of expecting the mushroom fetch quest to send Space Cowboy on a little bit of a mission here after this. There's another bottle with a bee in it.
We found all 4 bottles at this point. All while searching for just that one final item, the bow. The one item we need to complete the game at this point.
Yeah, if Space Cowboy comes into the bow while Gus is running around with the fire rod, that fire rod won't really pay out as much as I was thinking it would.
Yeah, it's gonna make things a little bit easier in Ganon's Tower, of course, but it's definitely more important items out there.
Just for everybody wondering, there's some pipes near me, so sometimes whenever I'm holding my button down to talk, you can hear water running from upstairs. I apologize for that. I try to keep it out of the audio. Red pendant for Space Cowboy. While Gus gets himself another crystal. This race is going to play out really weird here at the end, depending on this bow, of course. Where should Space go now? Oh no. Is Space heading back into Thieves Town to check the big chest? It might have been lingering on the back of his mind this entire time, and now he's worried that he left the bow behind at the beginning of the race. Well, no. Oh, pegs as well. Wow, good memory on his part, for sure.
And Gus, meanwhile, appears to be making his way into the back of Skullwoods in all likelihood, and I imagine he'll be popping out the mirror afterwards if he doesn't find the bow in here. There is still one item remaining, I believe.
I think so. All they found was ether earlier. So yeah, he could be heading into Skullwoods to check to see if he can find the bow, and then yeah, like you said, pulling out that mirror and giving us a good old pedestal check. And Pedbow is definitely alive. Pedestal bow will give Space Cowboy a lot of trouble. Well, not too much trouble, because the fire rod can't be too many locations. He'll eventually be pushed into Turtle Rock without any other options.
Oh well, there we go. The check is incoming.
Maximum health.
Well, pedestal isn't happening.
Something I said earlier, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite both of these guys. The bow could be fire rod locked within Turtle Rock. Yeah, Dragon Master called it, said it just now as well. Those 2 chests on the east side, or even behind Trinex. That would be very painful.
Yeah, or it could also just be the traditional location of, well, the green pendant bow, which is also an unfortunate one, even if it's kind of conveniently located sometimes.
Yeah, Sahasrara having the bow, it would be okay in the way that at least they're right there at Palace of Darkness and Eastern. You know, get the bow and just head straight in and knock out those 2 dungeons. But man, what you have to go through. Space Cowboy, at least he has that chest out of his mind now. 20 rupees. Bumper strats from Gus. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
There's the big key. Just more run around. Looks like Space Cowboy might be heading. Yeah, he's heading to T-Rock. Maybe whenever he is done with T-Rock, he will opt to head right back in and check those other 2 chests. Unfortunately, going out to check like Mimic Cave and then heading back in for the big chest, you can't just mirror back to the entrance of the dungeon. You're absolutely forced to, just start back from the beginning. I guess climb the mountain again.
Mm-hmm. The best bet they have when it comes to trying to route this nightmare of a T-Rock would be not taking the safety exit at the end of the laser bridge and then them mirroring back to where the big chest entry point is and then going back to the laser room from there and then mirroring the fire outlet room from there. Then mirroring to that big cheeky chest a second time. It's not something that's like easy to think of.
No, and look at that. We have go mode for Gus, so the bow is fire locked, hidden behind a giant bug in Skull Woods. Very impressive gambling from Gus.
Yeah, he opted to not even bother picking up the pendant because, well, why would he? There's no reason to. But man, that is unfortunate. So you need to dive all the way into T-Rock to get the fire rod on Laser Bridge, to go to the back of Skull Woods to kill Modular to get your bow in this case.
He definitely earned that bow. Early on, Gus headed into like Swamp Palace without the hammer or the hookshot, or even hammer even, just to check that one item, and it was like a empty bottle, I think. So from the very beginning, he's been making pretty big gambles. And here they are, paying off, man. Really awesome.
It's really cool to see.
Both Eastern and Pod are basically finished for Gus as well, so he's go-moding both of these dungeons. He doesn't have to look for the big key at all, and man,
yeah,
really
will just be straight shots to the boss and to kill the boss, and that's it. He will of course be remaining with the Tempered Sword for the rest of the game, but that should be more than fine, to be honest.
Yeah, you can't blame Space Cowboy for making the play into Swamp. There are 6 items to be found there, even with it being a pendant dungeon. And he had everything, all the gear required to full clear it. So it was the right move logically to head in there. And T-Rock was definitely the gamble, not having Fire Rod. Wow, Gus is making quick work of this.
Yep. Definitely really wants to finish this off. Probably nervous as all get out too, because, well, we wouldn't be in this situation.
I have to wonder if Gus thinks that he's behind still. I would think he has a pretty demanding lead at this point with that crazy gamble.
Yeah, it's hard to, but you never know when you're playing yourself, whether you're in the lead or not. And generally speaking, if there's one thing I've known from watching and talking with a bunch of runners after the races are over, it's that everybody always feels like they're behind. It's probably a healthier attitude to have anyway, rather than thinking you are in the lead.
I agree. Unless, of course, giving yourself extra nerves causes you to choke, and make more mistakes. If that's the case, then just pretend you're always annihilating your opponent.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, Gus missing out on the Pearl and King's Tomb early on, that could lead him to thinking that, you know, he's behind. Space Cowboy could have made the same exact play in his mind, or even earlier, because Space Cowboy had the Cane of Samaria his first time up the mountain, as well as Ether. He could have headed straight in and found that fire rod in what, maybe the first hour and 10 minutes, something like that.
He could have definitely found it significantly sooner.
Oh yeah, but nobody wants to head into T-Rock without fire rod. That's
no. He could definitely be preying on his mind that the King of Samaria was waiting for him in Thieves Town, that his opponent just went straight into Thieves Town, which he did, by the way, and then went straight into T-Rock and would have had the fire rod for a long time now.
It's good to keep in mind for all racers and runners of Randomizer that if you don't have fire rod or even ice rod heading and you can get into Turtle Rock, you might as well check it, because if you don't get a small key in that bottom left room, then you're just blocked anyway. You can't go any further in the dungeon. You know, but you find a small key and then another small key and just slowly make your way to Laser Bridge. It's likely that it'll have something pretty nice. It's weird how we kind of called this at the beginning.
Yeah, kind of. All through the magic of finding the ice rod early and just getting to talk about what does that imply, actually. Of course, in this case, it didn't imply anything, because that ice rod itself wasn't useful at all in this seed, because there was no reason to beat Trinex.
No, not at all. So weird. Very weird seed. Not necessarily punishing. And there we go, Space Cowboy getting his fire rod.
Yeah, of course, he still has no idea where he needs to take that thing. But he is actually setting up for what I was talking before about possibly mirroring the big key chest to be able to check the rest of T-Rock as quickly as possible. We'll see what he does. Yeah,
he's hoping beyond hope that he'll find the bow right here alongside the fire rod. Ooh, beautiful Armos Knights with silver arrows from Gus the Zora there. Really well done. I'm not sure, but did Gus do Turtle Rock without the lantern? I believe he did, because he didn't go into Desert or Mire. Yeah.
He didn't go into fire. He didn't go into Misery Mire until after he had the fire rod.
That's really impressive. It's not one of the worst dark rooms, but just taking a gamble like that and not even having lantern at that point. Very cool on his part. Ooh, Space Cowboy almost jumped off the mountain there. For anybody that doesn't know, it's if you have the boots and most ledges that you can jump off of, if you have the boots, instead of just walking against the ledge for a little, and then, you know, eventually jumping off, you can just tap the A button and immediately jump off. It's called a quick hop. He almost did a quick hop off the mountain there, right outside that cave. Ooh.
There you go. Sorry about that. Somebody in chat actually just reminded me that we do like to play a little game as people make their way into Ganon's Tower, which we call the Big Key Guessing Game. Plot explained it, so feel free to put in your number guesses, people.
I completely spaced on it as well. Just being excited about this crazy seed and how Space Cowboy is kind of trying to take the shortest path to find his bow. It's really easy to forget. Sub 150 Ganon Tower entrance. It's not bad at all, considering.
It's considered, yeah. Considering the crazy double not double dip, but the crazy dip into T-Rock that was required to find the bow to go to another pendant dungeon to get... Wait a minute. To get the fire rod to go into another pendant dungeon to get the bow is certainly something.
Yeah, very, very painful indeed if you put it off. Hey,
There you go.
There's my red Zora full outfit. I'm very happy about this, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now he's going to find Mirror Shield and ruin it. Of course.
Oh.
And we know that the other sword upgrade is in Swamp.
Yeah, so he won't be getting the full golden Luke either.
Nice. Gus finding a small key on the torch there, on Bob's torch. Decides, nope, I'm heading east side. Looks like he is not done gambling.
Looks like Spacecowboy, meanwhile, is going to make the right choice with the fire rod and go into Skullwoods to pick up, well, to kill Mochel and pick up the bow.
Yeah, Gus is definitely gambling. He's not
God.
heading into the far east side. He's using a common known minor glitch where when you have the cape out and you just grab onto a wall, your magic will not deplete. So you can just stand there, invincible. If his gambling does not pay off, that's the exact thing that Spacecowboy needs to catch up. He has a lot of catching up to do. He has what? Palace of Darkness and Eastern to finish off. Smart move to go and check pedestal first, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Ten arrows for the weight.
Yep. That's unfortunate. He's still got quite the advantage in this race right now, though. But it does make things a little bit closer.
I believe Spacecowboy also does not have to look for... Oh, no, wait. In Palace of Darkness, he left once he got to the big chest and he didn't have the big key, which is bow-locked.
Yeah, so he does need to go to the right side and pick up the keys there.
I'm glad he's not heading back to the big chest first. He's going to go ahead and go kill the giant bug.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Gus is on the last 4 chests on the east side of Ganon's Tower. And no, just a bunch of money. He's going to go out of his way for a small key in this conveyor room, though. Nice dash straight across the star keys there, the star buttons.
And he's heading straight towards the eyes almost, looks like. I respect this play.
Yeah, it's like his entire game plan from the beginning, just gambling away. Great bonk. Yeah, if he heads into, like, say, Spacecowboy getting his bomb, slashing the blue pennant. He does grab the blue pennant, though. Gus opted out of grabbing that pennant, just left immediately. If Gus skips all of the west side chests and finds the big key in one of the 3 behind Ice Armos, or right here in Bob's chest, that'd be pretty impressive. Ooh, more money, though. Just all the rupees. He's taking a lot of damage, too, though. I think he has magic pots? Or at least 1 magic pot?
Probably. He does still have that mushroom, so there is the option of using fake powder to heal yourself later on, but still. Maybe we'll go into the safety room to the left here to get a health refill.
There's also the net and the big key. He has exactly what he needs to finish the dungeon. Impressive routing. Impressive gambling. Wow. The time deficit that Spacecowboy had, it's multiplying with how Gus is deciding to route out Ganon's Tower. But it does look like Spacecowboy remembers exactly what he did in Palace of Darkness. He's heading straight into the east side, where it was bow-locked behind the mimics, to find himself a small key and a big key.
Yeah, and it's Those are guaranteed to be there. Like, even not knowing, even in his position, they are guaranteed to be there.
That's right. Speaking of mimics, Gus cleaned up those 2 mimic rooms here in G Tower very well. Wow, and great dash out of this spike room. He has to be feeling good at this point. Taking some invincibility frames here, and like you said, yep, safety room.
Yeah, it's very good choice here with, well, the health he has right now. You don't want to go into the gauntlet with 2 hearts.
He is just taking the refill and not worrying too much about catching a fairy, so he trusts in himself to finish out the gauntlet and Aghanim too, as well as Ganon. Wow, all the bomb drops.
He's also getting some really nice use out of the fire shot, the fire rod here.
Beautiful use. And a fairy right there in G4, or well, right before G4. Wow, it's cleaning up the gauntlet.
This is a really nice gauntlet. Just really clean through him.
Silver Arrow land mode 2. Oh, barely missed the second Landmolus, and then the other one just had to go down left, didn't he? But cleans him up well.
That's nice to cycle.
Beautiful. Meanwhile, Space Cowboy getting trolled by sword beams. It happens to all of us. And he gets the Lonely Turtle glitch. Really cool. If you knock one of those turtles upside down on top of the pegs, and then you switch the pegs to upright position, he can just walk right through the wall, which is super weird. Unfortunately, he can actually get into the wall on the same screen where you have the turtle party room, where you have to kill all the turtles to progress, and just the doors won't open. You have to wait for him to get close enough for you to kill him. It's very, very rare, but it's so weird when it happens.
I've seen him get into the turtle party room. I've seen him in the lonely. I've seen him as the lonely turtle quite often. It can be off-putting if you're doing the room in the dark and you run into a turtle there and you're like, wait, there's not supposed to be any enemies in this room.
Oh my goodness! I hope everybody saw Gus's maneuver there.
Yeah, that was a super cool bonk over the pit.
Yeah, I have never seen that before. He is putting on a show now. Really, really awesome bonk. I think I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, that was really sweet. I really like that.
Full magic refill, 37 bombs, 37 silver arrows, 1 slash and 1 spin from Tempered Sword will put Moldworm in her place. Oh, nope. He opted, what was that, 2 dashes, I guess? Yeah, a slash, a dash, and then another slash. Not bad.
That also works. Let's see.
An arrow upgrade for his troubles. It's always cool to see runners open up that last chest.
Yeah.
Even though, you're almost always in go mode and it's almost never useful, but once in a while it'll be like a heart piece that fills up your health, or
in Gus's case, we know it wasn't, but it could have been the level 4 sword, and it would have made the Ganon fight a little bit easier.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's right. Ooh, missing all of the energy balls from Aga 2 in that first phase.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's see.
A couple of hits on the second phase, though. Yeah.
I think he's got one more hit to go to clear this fight.
I think so as well. Yep. Nice. He has
celebratory bonking.
He has plenty of health to just tank through the Ganon fight as well. The first 2 phases take 12 slashes each, and then there's the 4 slashes for the 3rd phase, and 4 silver arrows for the 4th phase. It is very close to being finished. Close to a sub 2 hour for Gus. That's pretty amazing considering how interesting, unusual the seed has been.
Ganon once again with some interesting facts. Gus is going to make good use of the cave he has for this particular phase here, I think. Yeah, just stand there, slash Ganon. Don't even worry about the bats. He's got the half magic and the cape, so why not? Makes this a very easy one cycle.
Yep, and I do believe he still has a green pot as well that he just never ended up using. I think they were given 2 free green pots early on.
Yeah, exactly. And he used one for the potion glitch in Palace of Darkness, and then the other one has just been sitting there.
That's right.
Unused.
Did you find the arrows in the light world? Oh, you mean the race in Kakaruga Village? I sure did.
It wasn't very well hidden, Ganon.
No.
Gets an accidental silverless swing there.
Yeah, it's really difficult to actually get a swing on Ganon whenever he's teleporting. That's why we opt for spin attacks whenever we're doing silverless, but nope, he got that accidental hit.
It's always funny to see
And
it
there's
happen.
the 4th arrow.
And good game to Gus. What does the Triforce say for us?
Absolutely impressive show of routing and ingenuity as well. Put an entire Ganon's tower between him and his opponent.
Yep. All through the magic of... Well, he actually never... Yeah, the big difference is he never ended up going into Swamp Palace. He just resisted doing that all game long and just used that fire rod from... well, finding that fire rod from T-Rock early to get him to his victory.
Yeah, two very big factors in this race were Space Cowboy spending a lot of time on a sketchy Cold Stare fight that didn't pay out. He died right at the end.
Yeah, that was still very sad to see. I was really rooting for him.
Same. And then, of course, going into Swamp Palace and not finding anything other than, I think, a sword at most. Gus did enter Swamp very early on in the seed, but he could only get to the first chest and found an empty bottle and bailed out and never returned.
And it looks like we're going to be seeing the left side of Ganon's tower now, which we didn't see from Gus earlier, really. So yeah, that works out.
Yeah, I think most of us choose to check the first 2 chests on each side Ganon's tower and then head to the west side and just full clear all of these because it's so congested with chests. But that routing from Gus, really cool. Just nope, I'm not checking any of that stuff. He did tile room initially as well before even heading on to those 4 final chests on the east side.
Yep. Yeah, that didn't end up paying out at all. It might have been the difference between a sub 2 and not having a sub 2 here, actually, but, well, I respect the fact that he actually went for it.
Alright, seeing if Gus wants to come in here and talk about this crazy seed and his really impressive routing and use of, not crazy gambles, but they were pretty crazy at the same time. Going into T-Rock without fire rods, just awesome.
Yeah, definitely ended up paying off. I wonder if he wanted to do it earlier, considering how quickly he opened T-Rock, actually.
Yeah, he was actually up the mountain before clearing out Thieves Town, and that's where the Cane of Samaria was. So I bet he would have jumped straight in there early on.
He definitely would have fit the rest of his routing tendencies throughout this seed. Spacecowboy is about to find his big key here after killing off the ice armors. There it is. Just a gauntlet climb left for him, and then he'll also be on his way to cannon and victory.
Space Cowboy trying to kill that green mimic there. A little bit out of reach, but still worth the shot, worth the try. Nice mimic manipulation.
You also the D room above here, and probably the best way to do it if you want to not take any damage. That was also a nice mimic clear for the second room. See if he gets a nice little dash here. Ooh, the Igor's got in the way, that's unfortunate.
Nice movement through the cannonball room. He is going to use silver arrows to clear out at least the early stages of the gauntlet here.
Yeah, it's also not a bad choice. You're on them anyway, so a little bit trickier to hit with than the fire rod, of course, but on the positive side, you have significantly more arrows than you have magic usually. Getting the nice little kill on the little stuffers over there. It's amazing how big the hitbox on the fire rod becomes if you hit that pot just the right way. Well, it's not being particularly cooperative to arrows, and never mind. I didn't say anything. He got a pretty good hit over there.
He's making his way through the tower. Ganon's tower can cost you a lot of time, but at the same time, once your opponent has finished and you see the dot done, as it were, it's a lot more comfortable to just enjoy finishing out the Ganon's tower. I mean,
hello?
Oh!
Yeah,
Can you
we
guys
are
hear me?
joined by Gus. Hello, we can hear you.
Hi.
Congratulations on your victory.
Thanks a lot. That was, well, I don't know what to say really.
Yeah, that fire rod location was certainly something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect when I stepped into Turtle Rock, but I was pretty surprised to find the Turtle Rock there, and I was a little bit afraid that because Turtle Rock was a green pendant, I kind of expected, I was afraid that Trinex might have something, or Sasha rather.
It's definitely a lingering fear here, because there was just no good way of getting into T-Rock and grabbing that fire rod and killing Trinex in one go. You basically had to double dip it if you wanted to kill the boss.
Yeah.
I have to ask, Gus, first off, good game. That was an amazing show, and I know that everybody enjoyed it. I'm curious, once you were finding the fire rod around that time, did you feel like you were ahead or behind, or how did you feel at that point?
To be honest, I felt like I was behind ever since I pretty much stepped into pod. Because when I finally did Thieves Town, I found the cane. Well, I didn't find anything in pod or like anything after there, so I knew I had routed horribly wrong. So I thought I was way behind.
You did fall behind early on, looking for that moon pearl with the moon pearl in King's Tomb with the Titan's mitts and boots. Took you a little bit to remember, but. Yeah,
I forgot. I forgot about King's Tomb, but I also forgot that I had the Titan. So I was like, for a minute there, I didn't know what I should do.
It didn't slow you down though. You also made an early play into Swamp Palace without the hammer or hook shot. Found an empty bottle, and that's as far as you could go. Never went back.
Yeah, I don't really like when the seeds kind of troll you and put some progression item in this like dungeon where you can just get like one item. It's one of the reasons I went into Turtle Rock while I could like clear the whole of swamp.
Oh, definitely. If you would have went into T-Rock and that first chest didn't have a small key, you would have been forced to leave. And I had mentioned how that's actually a really good play. Would you have entered T-Rock earlier had you done Thieves Town first to find Samaria?
Probably I would have done it while I was up there because, well, Death Mountain gave you like everything to do it, so... I would definitely gone in and check the first chest just to see if it was a small key or just a map or something.
Oh, for sure. In case you were wondering, your opponent is fighting Ganon right now with your play into T-Rock and then eventually finding the bow at Moth. With that alone, you put 2 crystal dungeons between you and him, and in the end, it was a full Ganon's Tower between the two of you. So he did keep up, but he cleared a lot of stuff. He had a little trouble in Ice Palace with Cold Stare, but he also full cleared Swamp, which you avoided after that initial check.
Yeah, so, I really didn't want to go into Swamp again after checking that first chest, so that would be my last play in that case.
Man, it was the right play to go into T-Rock. Really impressive. Really impressive.
Thank you.
Speaking of impressive, we were actually both kind of surprised by the bonk you did in the torture room in Ganon's Tower. It was really impressive to see, actually. It was really cool.
Right. Yeah, the sprite. In the sprite despawn torch puzzle, where you go upstairs and the floor starts to fall right before the 2 baby Helmasaurs with the small key.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I think I saw that on some earlier race in either this fall or in this tournament. I can't remember.
Well, I'm definitely stealing that technique. Very cool.
Yeah, that's what I did. So.
Anyway, we have also been joined by our second place finisher, Spacecowboy.
GG to him.
Good game, Space.
That seed was hot garbage. Oh my god.
You handled it well.
My death in Ice Palace. Ugh.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as bad, but you just clung to life for a really long time using the magic pots and spins with Fighter Sword and the cape. It was a really good show, but man, right there, the last puff, it cost a lot of time. That and Swamp, clearing out Swamp Palace.
Swamp was the one pennant that had absolutely nothing, and it was Turtle Rock that had the bow, kinda, sorta, somewhat. Almost got memed.
Yeah, fire rod blocked bow is pretty painful when that fire rod is on laser bridge of all places.
Honestly, I tilted nearly from the start whenever we had, Dark World access mitts, but missing a lot of key items to clear dungeons, and I just never really figured out a good path of, okay, let me go here, then there, then there.
Yeah, the routing in this seed in general was just really awkward. Like, it started off with the hammer being a bit weird to find, and then the next step was that fire source just being locked away really well. Like, I didn't have to dive all the way to the laser bridge, or you had to go into Misery Mire without any kind of fire source to find the lamp.
Yeah, both
that's
both
not
the
a play I
source
normally make.
Yeah, both the fire source were in kind of trolley places. It's not really where you want to step in to find them. So,
early on, Space Cowboy, early on you took a pretty good lead, heading into Village of Outcast and knocking out Thieves Town, finding Samaria, as well as the mirror and stuff. Gus had a little bit of trouble with the Pearl, the Titan's Myths leading to King's Tomb. It's really easy to forget. So you did have a really good advantage at the beginning. I want to apologize to both of you guys for what Dude and I kind of gossiped about throughout the seed. Cursed you guys a couple times, including that T-Rock, late T-Rock fire rod. I'm very sorry about that. Dude even said, "Oh, that's not super possible. Like, it doesn't happen very often." And of course,
And of course, it had to happen this time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure you saw me pause, got the fire rod. I just kind of stopped, and I'm like, what the hell do I do now?
You
Well,
had a
at
lot of
least you
options.
resisted the temptation to use that to go back into that fire rod locked room in T-Rock and then kill Trinex, because that would have been a grand waste of time.
Yeah, this seed was just... Said I couldn't get any solid routing, and then whenever I died in Ice Palace, I underestimated the difficulty of the puffballs without being able to slash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was heartbreaking actually to see you lose as late in the fight as you did.
Yep, I had, I think, 2 or 3 spins left on that puffball.
The luckily for Gus, he actually farmed for rupees in Light World before ever heading to Dark World to go and get that sword upgrade from Zora. So he was able to, be very aggressive with the Master Sword against Cold Stare. Man, that one sword upgrade,
It's a world
pretty
of
painful.
difference.
Yeah, it really does. Fighter is just not useful in Dark World. Not super useful anyway.
I can do fighter sword with most of the dungeons. I just forgot that normal slashes don't work, and that's what kind of screwed me there, I think.
Yeah. And yeah, that does make a significant difference, whether you can just smash the boss or have to rely on more difficult methods to hit him.
If I'm not mistaken, it wasn't even a puff that got you in the end. It was a broken off piece of one of those ice chunks that fell from the ceiling, and that's just heartbreaking. It really, really is. But you handled it well. You didn't tilt. You kept progressing and kept collecting crystals, or at least trying. I think that's around the time that you headed into Pod.
Yep. I'm like, well, I have no magic. I have no potions. If I want to find the bow in Pod, well, it's not going to be in the bow locked section, so I really don't care. I'm not looking for too much still. Because it gave us almost every item we needed for Go mode pretty early on once we started finding a few things. And then bow.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the bow was really unfortunate this seed.
It was like fire source and the bow. Those were the two things that held both of you guys up. And the progression that you would get was very small. Like finding the book, that could lead to a few things. But once you guys both found the fire rod, you had very similar routing, like heading into Skull Woods and checking the pedestal first. Very, very similar.
Yeah.
Good game again, man. We've seen some rough seeds in this tournament, and you guys, I don't think this was a super trolly seed, but it was definitely not a fun one to route. It was fun to watch though.
Yeah, it was hard to just like define, okay, I have these items, I should go here. No, it's like, okay, I have these items, I can go here, not completed, I can go here, not completed, I can go here and not complete it. And that was everything on the table after Thieves.
Yep, that sounds about right. Like at one point you basically just had to go in the dungeon and hope that even though you couldn't complete it, would just have to pay off you needed to complete something else, or that particular dungeon, of course.
Yep, Curse of the Early Silvers.
Yeah, you headed into Mire and found the lantern, and that gave you a pretty good edge. But then, because of when you found a fire source and when you found Hammer, like the basement of Hera and the big chest of Thieves Town, both of those places, they were weighing on your mind, weren't they? Once you can't find the bow, you just gotta start checking those one-off locations you left behind.
Yep, because it was on Moth, I had Trinex and the right side of TR left, and I checked everything else at that point, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
173 at 216.
That's a pretty good collection, right?
Yeah,
Pretty good. I mean, pretty high, but well, that's what happens with a seed like this.
Yep.
I always
GG
consider
Gus.
160 to 180s average for a near full clear seed. So 173 is not bad. You guys were both very close. Yeah, good game again, guys.
Yeah, good game. And with that, I think it's about time we start saying our goodbyes and giving our shout-outs. So let's start it off with the important part. Make certain to give R2 Runner Spacecowboy2011 and Lindhall or Gus a follow. They deserve it, and I would also recommend following the OK Guy or Raspberry Floof, my co-commentator or tracker respectively. And of course, don't forget to follow the Speed Gaming channels. The Speed Gaming 1 through all the way up to Speed Gaming 6 now. All worth a follow if you like, well, Links to the Past Randomizer or other speedrunning racing. It's all fun to watch, I can tell you that much.
Yep, and this randomizer tournament is just getting started. We're in the second wave of the Swiss rounds, so there's a lot more to come on all of these channels, guys. It's a ton of fun, and I can tell by how many people are showing up to watch. Everybody's enjoying it. Stick around for sure. It's just going to get better and better.
Anyway, speaking of things on Speed Gaming, let's take a quick look. We've got a lot more Links to the Past Randomizer going on all night, of course, but going on Speed Gaming 3 right now is something different. It's actually Diddy Kong Racing. And in a couple of hours, we also have Shantae going on Speed Gaming 3 and Rockman 2 going on Speed Gaming 2. And both of those are also really exciting watches. And if you can wait all the way up to 8 PM on this particular channel, we'll have Links to the Past, No Major Glitches, the game the randomizer is based on, which is also a really good watch. I recommend it.
Oh yeah, the No Major Glitches tournament's been turning out really, really well as well. Really good watch. Thanks again, dude. This was a lot of fun. Really.
Thank you very much. Yes, I also really enjoyed commentating with you, and I learned a thing or two.
Yeah, it was a weird seed, but I'm glad we got to cast for it. It was fun to make guesses that were horrible and paid out the way that they did. Thanks you guys for watching. I'm gonna get out of here. Good game again, Space, Gus. Hope you guys enjoy going back to watch it for sure.
Anyway, with that, I've been the Dude, and good night, everybody.
Later.